In this clip, let's look at the taxonomy of bacteria and the bacteria that we use in homeopathy. Okay, bacteria is classified or is divided into various phylums. It's divided into the proteobacteria, spirochetes, cyanobacteria, endospora, pyrrole, and the actinobacteria. Let's look at each one of them in a little bit of detail. Okay, the first one we're going to be looking at is the proteobacteria. Now, proteobacteria forms a large group, and we have quite a few nosodes sourced from this group. Now, the proteobacteria is further divided into the alpha, beta, gamma, and epsilon. Easy to remember. Yeah. Now, Brucella, example of the alpha proteobacteria is Brucella. Now, Brucella is an bacteria which is quite similar to Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The reason why I'm talking to you about Brucella is because Brucella is the one which was used as the prototype for biological warfare during the 1940s and the 50s. But then luckily Nixon banned the use of biological warfare, and that was the end of all that. Now, Rickettsia is the one which causes typhus fever. So you have the typhus nosode in homeopathy. Now, all the names that are written on the slide, we have medicines in homeopathy sourced from these organisms. Now, that's alpha. Now, moving on to beta and gamma, those form the bulk of the Baal nosodes. Now, we'll go and study more into detail about the Baal nosodes further on. For now, just understand that the Baal nosodes are those organisms which you find in the Baal. And the person who introduced this into homeopathy believed that it is the cause of a lot of chronic diseases. He found that when there was a particular type of chronic disease, he could also match it with the type of bacteria found in the gut, which was in huge numbers. So he correlated the two, and those are called as the Baal nosodes. And some of the Baal nosodes can belong to the beta group, and some belong to the gamma group. In addition to the Baal nosodes, you also have Medarrhinum and Meningococcinium kind of nosodes, which belong to the beta group, which are not Baal nosodes. Yeah. Okay. Now coming on to the epsilon group, this is the group which is composed of the Campylobacter and the Helicobacter. Now, Campylobacter is said to be present or said to be one of the causes. Yeah, it's proposed to cause Guillain-Barré syndrome. Now, what is this? Guillain-Barré syndrome is one of those syndromes where, it starts out like a flu or a gastro bug, and then what happens is you get paralysis. Okay, at the end of it, you get ascending paralysis. That's Guillain-Barré syndrome, and it takes quite a while to get back. Now, and it's said that 1 in 1,000 cases who have been afflicted with Guillain-Barré syndrome have had Campylobacter infection. Okay, now Helicobacter, all of us know, is the cause of duodenal ulcers or gastric ulcers. Now remember that from a clinical perspective, if a patient has got a positive diagnosis of gastric ulcers, but then there's no infection of Helicobacter pylori, it usually means they've had a history of taking non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Now there's an activity for you to do at the end of the slide, which says trace the link between Helicobacter pylori and Dr. Barry Marshall. Now, this is very interesting. Just go and Google Dr. Barry Marshall and have a read about it. He was an Australian who basically did something quite similar to what Hahnemann did in his first proving, where he took the cinchona. Yeah, he realized that in patients with gastric ulcer, there was a high incidence of Helicobacter pylori. So he wanted to prove that it was Helicobacter pylori which caused the gastric ulcers. So what he did was, I'm telling you, but please do go and have a look at it also. Yeah, so what he did was he just ingested Helicobacter pylori and gave himself a lot of stomach ulcers. I wonder what would have happened. And this was actually in, I think, 1980s, early 1980s, around 1983. So I seriously wonder what would have happened if he had some kind of an inkling of homeopathy, whether he would have still taken the Helicobacter pylori, or he would have taken it, potentized it, and used it as a homeopathic remedy and seen the difference. Anyway, so that's that. And now let's move on to the other phylums of bacteria. You have phylum Spirochaete, which is the cause of leptospirosis. Then you have Lyme's disease, the bacteria which causes Lyme disease, and also Treponema pallidum, which causes the syphilis. Okay, which we have also the nosode syphilinum, which you have already heard of. Yeah. We also have leptospirosis and the Lyme's disease, nosode, as a remedy in homeopathy. Phylum Cyanobacteria. Now this one, it was initially classified under plants as blue-green algae, but now it's been placed under Monera under bacteria. Why? Because of their cell structure. Yeah, because they do not have a nucleus. I mean, a nucleus enveloped by a nuclear membrane. Yeah, so they become they will not belong to the eukaryotes but to the prokaryotes, and hence they will fall under bacteria rather than the plant kingdom. Okay, so what is the characteristic of these bacteria under the plant kingdom? Why were they initially placed under the plant kingdom? Because they could photosynthesize. So you see now how as time passes, the classification also varies. Yeah, and this is one of the problems if we stick with one. You know, when we try to learn the whole of the Materia Medica using a classification of that period, we never know how it's going to change, you know, a decade later. Yeah, so this is one of the negative aspects of trying to learn the Materia Medica through taxonomy. Okay, the other phylum is Endospora. The Endospora is responsible for anthrax, listeria, also Staphylococcus aureus, that's your golden staph, comes under the phylum Endospora, Lactobacillus, Streptococcus pneumoniae, Clostridium, which causes botulism. Phylum I can't even pronounce it. Pyralulae, chlamydia comes under this. Actinobacteria, phylum Actinobacteria, you have examples of those would be your Tuberculinum bovinum, which is your tuberculinum, very often used in homeopathy. You also have other various tuberculinum from, you know, the bacillus taken from a bird, which would be called as Tuberculinum aviare, which is also a remedy that we use in homeopathy. You also have DPT, nosode, pertussin, diphtherinum, all caused by different species of Corynebacterium. You also have Streptomycete species, which are the source of a lot of antibiotics, like aureomycin, erythromycin, streptomycin. All these are formed from bacteria belonging to the actinobacteria.